Welcome to Lit Vibes Only, where we lit the shit out of books we love and hate. I'm Kelsey, the unhinged, diehard, romantic, and fantasy reader.
And I'm Amanda, the insightful thrill seeker and historical fiction nerd. We are here with a special bonus episode. We're continuing. We're continuing our dive into the ACOTAR series with the final for now book, which is A Court of Silver Flames, which is super exciting. And we know
about Miss Nesta.
Yes. We know y'all have lots of thoughts about this series. So hopefully this is a really fun episode for you guys as well. But before we start, if you are not following us yet on socials, like what even are you doing with your life? I don't understand.
No, you're sitting on your phone somewhere right now. So
exactly.
Might as well be following us.
Open up TikTok and follow us at Lit Vibes Only Podcast, or go to Instagram and follow us at Lit Vibes Only _podcast, or better yet, or not better yet, just as good as. Also go to YouTube and check out our full length video episodes. Also at Lit Vibes Only Podcast, no underscore for that one. And you can just see all of our crazy antics that are happening as we're recording these episodes. So please be sure to do that. Follow, like, comment, subscribe, all of that amazing stuff. It's a great way to connect with us, join the community, show your support, get involved. And the other really great, awesome, wonderful thing you can do for us is to rate and review this podcast wherever you're listening to it. Primarily Apple Podcasts and Spotify are most helpful for us. So take a moment today, if you haven't yet, hit that 5-star button or write a review. I think we're still really struggling in the reviews department, especially for Apple Podcasts. Hopefully not so much at this point, because at this point we'll have had our most recent giveaway, and hopefully that inspired some more folks to write reviews. But it is really helpful and helps to kind of move our podcast up the ranks so that it's more visible to other people.
We just want to be mid, you guys. We need
we
some
just
more.
need to be a mid podcast.
We just need some more of you to review just to be mid.
We're setting realistic expectations for ourselves. So yes, if you'd like to help us become at least a mid podcast, please take a moment and write a review on Apple Podcasts and rate us over there. Or if you're on Spotify, write a comment on whichever episode has most spoken to you, most appealed to you. And then also hit that rating as well. And we really appreciate it. I know we say this all the time. And for those of you who have been with us since day one, you're probably sick to death of us saying this every single episode, but guess what? We're going to keep doing it. So spread the word, have your friends and family tune in and do all those good things. But yeah, we've got some good content today, a good episode.
Yeah.
And we're just going to dive right in. We're not going to bother with like, what are we currently? Oh, wait.
I want to mention one thing.
Yes, go for it.
Did you see all of the action happening on Instagram and Book Talk around the 6th ACOTAR announcement?
No. When did this happen? I was literally
Amanda,
just
you totally missed this.
Was this like today?
No. This was like a couple weeks back.
Oh no, then maybe I did see it. Go ahead.
Sarah J. Maas
released a draft or said she was done. The draft.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
I did see that.
See
yes.
that. Okay.
I thought this was like current. I was like, wait, like did this happen yesterday?
No. Thank goodness. Yes. I was like, where were you hiding? Because that was everywhere. But I'm so glad I did not do a video, because like it was so saturated. Like everybody was doing a reaction video to that post. But yeah, I think it was Book Huddle that posted about her predictions of the name for the next book.
Oh, interesting.
And it's so funny because, you know, any fandom that is intense like for ACOTAR comes up with all of these ideas and thoughts on what's going to happen next, right?
Yeah.
And I just think it's so funny because I never, like, I don't know. I just don't pay much attention to that stuff, I guess. And it's similar to like Swifties, you know, they're just like all of the Easter eggs. You have to find all the Easter eggs.
Obsessed.
But I also think that is a cultural like phenomenon right now where people do that. And in books that
like the Easter eggs are just having like really crazy fans that are obsessive.
The Easter eggs. Okay. The Easter eggs. Because I do think that some authors are starting to do that now, where in their social media, they're doing all these things that like hint at the upcoming releases or what have you.
Yeah.
I just think it's just I don't know. It's really popular right now. People really love it. And I think it really grows kind of fun. Your fandom. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was just funny to see her talk about like the different names of the ACOTAR series, where Silver Flames is not and Silver Flames or something, right? Because A Court of Thorns and Roses, the first 3 in the series were named that way. But then all of a sudden you get to Nesta and it's just Silver Flames. And so Book Huddle was like, and so I think it's going to be similar to that, where it's not going to have an and in it. I'm like, okay.
Oh my God.
But yeah, she had some true predictions of the title of the book. And I was like, dang, where are you coming from? Like,
wait, what do you mean?
So she's predicting what book 6 is going to.
But how do you know the predictions were accurate if the book
title
you don't. Oh, I think
she's just like taking information. Yeah, it's her predictions. Like,
I think you said true predictions, and I was like, "How are the predictions
real predictions
true?
Where it's based on some information she's gathered throughout her reading?" And I'm just like, "Dang, that's intense." I thought it was funny.
It'll be interesting. I am assuming, like most people, that the next book is going to be about Elaine, because I don't.
Yeah.
I don't see how it wouldn't be.
Yeah.
But, she could do something wild and surprise us all. But it's clear, and we'll get to this in the discussion, that this book, it was so, so, so blatantly obvious that Sarah J. Maas was setting things up for the next book. Like, it was so exposition heavy. But yes. Anyhow, why don't you let folks know, even though I'm sure they already know, why you had me. Actually, you know what? You didn't really have me read this book.
You
so
did this on your own, Amanda.
I did this on my own. So we don't even really need to do that little segment because I brought this upon myself. If you listen to our last episode, A Court of Wings and Ruins, ACOWAR, you'll know that.
Wait, is that right?
You'll know that I really enjoyed that book, and then ultimately, really enjoyed this series. And so by that point, I was like, yes, I want to keep reading this series.
Yeah.
Kelsey was for sure no longer forcing me to read it at this point.
No.
And Kelsey, along with some other friends who have read this series, all seemed pretty convinced that I was going to like Nesta's story. Not for the smut, but for like her character development. Yes. And so I was curious. It's, I think, the longest out of the 4 books, because I didn't read the novella.
Oh, it's very long.
It's very long. And so I definitely wanted to wait until the summer when I had like a huge chunk of time to dive into such a long book. So that's why I read it when I read it and why I read it. I guess you can still ask me the question, though.
Yes. So, Amanda, was this a lit it or quit it for you? Short answer.
So, keeping it concise, this book was a soft lit it for me. I ended up giving it 3 stars. We'll obviously dive into the why behind that. I did want to like it more than I did based on, ACOWAR and ACOMAF, but I'll say that for now.
All right. So I think you have a summary to tell us.
God, I have a beast of a summary. So y'all, this book is, I want to say, almost 800 pages.
It's a lot. Yeah.
It's really long.
Definitely not 1,000.
It's definitely not 1,000. It's not like what is that series? Spark of the Everflames or whatever.
And worth every fucking page. So
I'll have to take your word for that. So,
well, you're going to hate it. I know already, but I am going to make you read it at some point. So.
Well, thankfully the first book though isn't 1,000 pages. So
no, it's not. It's smaller.
That's fair. But yeah, I just looked. This book, A Court of Silver Flames, is 757 pages. So it's a tome. So of course I'm not going to be able to really give you a detailed summary of what goes on. I'm going to give you an overview. I'm sure Kelsey can obviously jump in if I'm skipping over anything that's really crucial. And then of course, within the discussion itself, we will get into some more of the nitty gritty. So this book, as we said, is Nesta's story. And so it's from her perspective. It picks up right after it picks up after the novella that I didn't read, which is A Court of Frost and Starlight. But essentially the gist is the war is over. Nesta's pretty traumatized, deeply traumatized for multiple reasons. One of them, of course, being that she was like forcibly made into a high fae in a previous book. And she has been handling her trauma in ways that are unhealthy, mainly through excessive drinking. She's just kind of like been sleeping her way around Valaris, where she's currently living, and is kind of also just like living in like this dinky apartment that's kind of gross and decrepit. And it's just like not in a healthy space. And what she's been doing as well is she's been using Feyre's and Rhysand's funds to fund her lifestyle, right? Yeah. And essentially all of this comes to a head when one night she goes out and just spends an exorbitant amount of their money, and they're just like, we cannot allow you to do this anymore. We can't enable you anymore. So they essentially send Cassian to, you know, pick Nesta up at her apartment, take her over to Feyre and Rhysand's estate so that they can have like a come to Jesus moment with her. And they basically give her an ultimatum. And that is either that she's going to go up to the House of Wind and start training with Cassian, or they're going to cut her off financially. And she's going to be just left on her own. So Nesta, of course, is very stubborn, very independent. This doesn't go down well, but ultimately she concedes and is taken to the House of Wind by Cassian. And honestly, the first part of the book is really about her getting into a routine in the house. So a couple of things happen. One is she initially resists training with Cassian because he takes her up to the mountains, the Illyrian mountains, to train with the Illyrian warriors who are, you know, these basically giant Batman, right? They've got the wings and whatever. Very, very strong. And it's, you know, Cassian, for example, is an Illyrian. Azrael is an Illyrian. And she refuses to train with him. She just kind of sits her butt on the ground and crosses her arms and just sits there for hours. And so like that doesn't go well. And ultimately what happens is Cassian realizes that the reason she doesn't want to train isn't just because she's being stubborn. It's because she doesn't want to train in front of the men and look stupid. So he realizes that if he trains her one-on-one in the privacy of their own home, right, in the House of Wind, he'll have a better chance of getting her on board, which is in fact what happens. At the same time, which is, you know, one of my favorite parts of the story, Nesta starts to develop this really cute relationship with the house itself, that the house is sentient. And so we see the house actually helping Nesta on her healing journey, and it providing her with like the resources and kind of comfort she needs to feel safe and at ease and able to process everything that's happened to her and happened to her family. So that's also happening. The other thing that's happening at the same time is she has been sent to work in the library that's in the basement of the house. And the really important thing to know about this library is that the women who work in this library are all women that have been rescued by, you know, by Rhysand and his band of merry men and his crew, right? Because there's Amryn and more who are not men, but his crew who have been rescuing these women who have been the victims of war and rape and pillage. And they have been brought to this sanctuary of a space to heal and to work. So she, while she's working there, befriends a young woman whose name is Gwen, has a really traumatic past, and they start to become friends, which is really a really big deal because Nesta does not have friends. Like Nesta does not do friends. So this is a really big step in her growth for her to start forming meaningful friendships, especially with other women.
And that was true before and after her Fae life.
Exactly. So like even when she was human, she didn't have friends. Right. So she, again, forms this friendship. She also, at the same time, has started to form a friendship with an Illyrian woman named Emry, who she met while she was up in the Illyrian mountains. And they also become fast friends. As she's working in the library, as she's working with Gwen, they discovered that there was a group of female warriors called Valkyrie who have years ago, they were all kind of, I almost said extinguished. But they were all killed, but they kind of uncover their legend. They uncover their training methods, and they essentially decide to resurrect the Valkyries once again and become like the new Valkyries. And so essentially Nesta gets Emry and Gwen and eventually other women from the library to become part of this training program, essentially that Cassian and then Azrael start to run to help to empower these women and give them the ability to fight and protect themselves, because all of them have been victims again of like sexual assault, etc. So it's a really powerful, moving thing. As all of this is happening, there is a bigger issue, a bigger conflict that is brewing. And that is that there seems to be something going on with the human queens, and they seem to be up to no good. One in particular, and I'm probably going to mispronounce her name because, again, I didn't listen to the audiobook. I don't know if it's Briallen or Briallen. I don't know how to say that. I don't know if you know, Kelsey.
Briallen, I think.
Okay. So Briallen, she is the queen who in one of the previous books wanted to get thrown into the cauldron along with Elaine and Nesta to become youthful forever. And instead, because she went into the cauldron after Nesta, who basically took something from the cauldron and really upset it, the cauldron turned Briallen into like this old hag, like a crone for forever, right? Or at least until So she's really bitter. Obviously wants to take revenge specifically on Nesta, and in general is just like pissed off. So she has made it her quest to find these 3 items that are part of something called the Dread Trove. And it's the harp, the mask, and the crown. Briallen already has the crown, and the crown is something that can be used to basically, when you have it on, when you're wearing it and you're in close proximity to others, you can basically influence them and make them do things, right, that they don't want to do. So it's, kind of like, I don't know, telepathy or basically you're influencing people's minds. So that's happening. At the same time, Eris, who is from the Autumn Court, his father, Baron, is colluding with this queen, this human queen, to connect these items and in some ways restart the war that they just ended a few books ago, right?
Yeah.
And so all of this is brewing in the background. And so, of course, Rhysand and his crew are going to be taking steps to address this. Because Nesta and Elaine have a particular connection to the cauldron because they are cauldron made. They are relied upon to help the crew find the 2 remaining items, which is the mask and the harp. And ultimately, Nesta is the one who kind of takes the lead in doing this. And I won't get too much into the details, but essentially there's like 2 quests that then happen. One of them involves going to the prison, which we've visited in previous books. So her and Cassian go to the prison. They end up encountering this really bad dude called Lanthus. But long story short, after a conflict, fight, battle, etc., she gets the harp and then is able to use the harp to basically teleport them out of there. And then she also goes on another quest to get the mask, and she nearly dies. She has an encounter with this really creepy creature that lives under the water. I don't remember the name of that particular creature, but she's also successful in getting the mask. So now they have the 2 out of the 3 items. Long story short, basically Nesta, Emery, and Gwen ultimately get kidnapped by, we find this out later, that it's Briallen and her forces kidnap them. And she basically takes them to the Blood Rite. Now, the Blood Rite is like this ritual survival test that every Illyrian has to pass in order to become an Illyrian warrior. And women have never been allowed to do this. And it's brutal. Basically, you're killing your way to the finish line. And so they find themselves in the survival test in the mountains. Normally there's no weapon supposed to be allowed in this battle, but because Briallen is behind this, she breaks the rules and there are weapons. So Nesta, Emery, and Gwen end up having to band together to survive. Surprise, surprise, they do. And they are essentially, able to make it out of the blood ritual. And there's a moment where I think, I'm trying to remember now specifically, but there is a conflict, a fight that ensues on the mountain pass, right? At this particular Blood Rite passage ritual thing. And needless to say, they're successful. Cassian, Nesta, et cetera, they're successful. They're able to destroy Briallen and are able to get out of there, essentially. One of the things that I did not mention that is a really important part of the story, because it is part of the conclusion, is that during this book, Feyre is pregnant. The issue is that Feyre got pregnant while she was in Illyrian form because Feyre can shapeshift. And because of that, the baby that is growing inside of her womb has wings. And she is not actually an Illyrian woman, and her body is not built to push out a baby with wings. And so they're basically like, well, Feyre is going to die if she gives birth to this child, and maybe the child will as well. So Rhysand throughout the entire novel has been freaking out and like, what am I going to do? Like, I can't lose them. And so we have this really beautiful moment at the end where Nesta uses kind of the remainder of her cauldron-born power to save Feyre, because she's, you know, in the midst of childbirth, is basically about to die. I think she actually technically does die. And Feyre is able to, again, kind of bring her and her baby back to life. And there's a happy ending. And at this point as well, Nesta and Cassian's relationship, which has been kind of on and off again throughout this novel, lots of ups and downs, highs and lows, they also end in a committed relationship. They've declared that they're each other's mates, and they're in the process of planning their mating ceremony. So there's also a happy ending for them. And the band of women, the Valkyries, is now like fully established. There's quite a few women who are part of this. And so the assumption is moving forward that they're probably going to play a key role in whatever this next book is. So that's my best attempt at summarizing this book.
You did a great job. Yeah. I don't know how your brain works like that, because I will be like, oh, and then this happened, and then this happened, and I was like, wait, and then thinking back about it, you just do a good job in that way.
Thank you. I think what I do is I kind of skim through a summary to like refresh my memory, and then once I have the basic bones of the plot, then I can remember enough to fill in the rest, I think. But thank you.
You also did not mention all of the smut.
Well, because we're going to talk about that in the discussion. But of course.
Oh, sure.
But of course, because of course I have things to say about that, and a quote, because I always have quotes.
But yeah, so overall though, like, were people right about you enjoying Nesta's story and Nesta as a character?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. I feel like everyone who recommended this book to me knows me well enough and like what I like about characters in particular to like nail this one. So like, you were right. My friend Anna, hello Anna, was also right. And I think the reason that I liked it is because, as y'all know, I love messy, complicated characters, right? And Nesta's like the epitome of a chaotic character.
Yes.
You know, the girl's got a lot going on. She's not necessarily always making the best choices, but
because she's real.
Because she's real, she's human. Well, like, she's fake, but she was human, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what I liked about it. And I like the fact that sometimes when authors write messy characters or have people like making these choices, the rationale behind it isn't always clear, or it feels really contrived. And so I'm like, yeah, this seems like a really complex, messy character, but I'm not fully buying into it because the reasons for their behavior are lacking, right? Or I don't know, I'm not relating to them. And one of the things that Nesta is able to identify for like the reason why she is so kind of prickly and antagonistic is that she is dealing with a huge amount of shame, because she feels like she has failed so many people and isn't worthy of love and affection and redemption, forgiveness. And I thought that was incredibly moving and compelling. So.
Yeah. And, you know, there's a mixture of things that help bring her kind of to the light, right? It's her relationship with Cassian.
Yeah.
But also it's this, relationship to herself. But to me, more importantly, the theme of the book is around sisterhood and developing those relationships and building upon them. And so I really enjoyed that aspect of
absolutely
uplifting the other women around her and at the same time herself.
Yeah. Because I think sisterhood, found sisterhood, chosen sisterhood is so important. And yes, she has her biological sisters, but I like that it was her chosen sisters that helped to teach her how to be a good sister to her biological sisters. Like, because sometimes it's hard with families. You got a lot of history, you got a lot of baggage,
so much baggage.
And sometimes you have to learn like the skills and the tools that you need to be a better person for your actual family, your biological family. You have to learn those skills in a setting that feels safer. And maybe there's some helpful distance there. And so it's really beautiful to see her connections build with Gwen and Emery, and then for her to take what she's learning from that space and those friendships and apply it to her actual sisters.
Right.
I think for me personally, because again, I grew up in a house full of men and, 6 brothers and my dad, So I always have like this interest and fascination with sisterhood and female friendships because that's something, especially when I was younger, I really struggled with connecting with women. And understanding them and like, what's the point of female friendship? I really didn't get it. And even when I moved to college and was living in a space with all women for the first time in my life, right, in a female dorm, it took a lot of adjusting too. And so I always love to see these stories and be reminded like, yeah, female friendships are so important. They're so powerful. They're so transformative. And this book really celebrates that really well.
Definitely does.
Yeah. It was really beautiful.
Was there anything else that you really loved or liked about the book?
That's a good question. I mean, the main things are what we said. I really liked Nesta's arc and I really loved the female friendships. And as a part of that, they're coming together specifically as this band of fighting female warriors. Like that was really badass.
Yeah.
And it was cool because like they weren't becoming like these kick-ass warriors just to be like, oh, like we're so cool. For a lot of these women, they had been violated in so many horrible ways by men, right? Taking out their anger and rage and violence on them. And so having them become Valkyries as a way of like healing and empowerment made it much more meaningful than if it was just like, oh, we're just going to be like, like these super powered like women just because. So I liked again that there was like depth to these choices that Sarah J. Maas was making. And it wasn't just like, oh, it'd be really cool if we had like some Valkyries in the story.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I think those would be the main things. Oh, and of course, I already mentioned this in the
Cassian and all the smut.
God, no. I loved the house, like the relationship with the house. Yeah. It kind of gave me like, which kind of tracks because the first book in this series is like Beauty and the Beast, but it reminded me of Beauty and the Beast. Obviously the castle isn't sentient, but all of the little characters, in the Disney version are sentient and they're all looking out for Belle and making sure she's comfortable and cared for. And that's what it reminded me of. And I just thought it was the cutest thing and just such a nice touch and heartwarming. And going off of that, and I wrote it down in my notes, like, during the winter solstice, which is a really big deal in this world, time of celebration, like gift giving, etc. The house gives Nesta a present, a gift. And the gift is that the house shares with Nesta that it also, like her, is broken and has darkness in it. Just like she does. And it's just like, whoa. I think I might have cried, honestly. Because it wasn't like the house or the author, Sarah J. Maas, was like, you know what? The solution for being a dark, hurting person is to just sweep out all the darkness and let there be light. It's like, no. When you are hurt, when you are traumatized, when you have baggage, those things a lot of times don't ever fully go away. And they linger with us, and we are making choices on a daily basis on how we navigate those spaces and how we live into or don't live into that darkness, right? It's a choice.
Yeah.
And so again, I felt like it was a very thoughtful handling of this topic, and it didn't feel dismissive or superficial or shallow. It's like, if you go through really tough shit, like, you don't just, it's not like an overnight transformation, like, voila, like everything's good and I'm the happiest person ever and I never struggle and I never fall back into old habits or have doubts or whatever.
Right.
So I also really appreciated that.
This book definitely has depth. Like,
oh my God. Yes.
All of the criticism that Sarah J. Maas gets, I think like she is a very talented writer.
Oh, for sure. There's no question.
There's no question there because we get stories like this where it's just, the depth is there. The reality is there.
Yeah.
And not just to the main character either. It's like all of the aspects of the book are very intentional.
Yes.
And it can, again, like we were talking at the beginning of the episode, it can lead you to these predictions of the world, right? And of next books and who it's going to be about and who's going to be shipped together and all these things. I was at a PTA meeting last night and we did a game around using slang words that the kids are using right now. And ship was one of them. It was just really funny. It was hilarious.
Oh, are they using that word now? Because that one's been around for a minute.
Oh yeah.
That's so interesting. Back. Oh, it's okay. It's having its moment again. All right.
People are trying to ship me with blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Oh God.
We shipped him with her. Yeah, no, it's definitely a thing.
Well, it is so funny that you specifically used that word because I have my notes pulled up, right? Because I obviously take notes when I'm reading. And I literally have a note that says, and I quote, Emery and more, totally shipping them.
Yes. I am hopeful for that. Yes. But also Gwen, right? She was can you remind me, because it's been a little while since I've read this book, but she's like this really kind, like gentle person, right?
Yes.
Is that right? Okay. Is there anything else to add, like about her personality and things?
I mean, she is kind of gentle, but she's also a bit precocious. Like out of all of the women in the library, she's the one who's like the most chatty. She's the one who like struck up a friendship with Nesta. She likes to, sing when she's flitting around the library. So she definitely is much more precocious and lively than the rest of the women. Yeah.
Yeah. There are theories because the next book we believe is about Elaine because we got Nesta's book, right? And so is the next book be about Elaine? And there are some really intense theories out there, but I think one of the theories, and I don't know if you've heard this before, is what was her name? Gwen
and Asriel.
Yes, but also people say even Lucian, I think, because there's this like weird thing happening. Okay, you know how here I have to tell you one of these theories I saw, and we'll have to link the person whose theory this is because I don't remember. She's popular on TikTok.
Okay.
But she says, and it blew my mind when she was talking about this. I was like, whoa, really? You know how Elaine's drawer is painted with flowers?
Yes.
And then Nesta's was flames. And then Feyre, hers was the star, night sky.
The night sky, yeah.
And so going back to Elaine's flowers, people really think or have this idea that she is going to be actual mates with Tamlin.
Oh, we've talked about this. Yes.
And so she broke it down and was like, and here's why. Here's why I'm right. And she was the drawer for one, because that does belong and makes sense for the spring court.
Sure.
And then when they were in the cauldron, when they were thrown into the cauldron.
Yeah, with the King of Hybern,
Yes. There's a theory out there that Lucian and Tamlin switched like bodies or like whatever, like switched. I don't know. Tamlin can make himself look like
a shapeshifter.
Yeah. And so like they were switched or something. And so what's his name? Lucian said, you're my mate. And so people think that it was actually Tamlin in that moment.
Okay, no, wait. That's a really big stretch.
It's a stretch. But then there were some other details she reference that made sense for it or something. I can't remember.
But then, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, the question is like Lucian though was the one that went to the night court and like did all the things, but then he did leave and was gone for a while.
But I think he left because he couldn't be there because he had these strong feelings for his mate and can't act on them.
And so anyway, people feel like Tamlin deserves a redemption story. And
I'm not opposed to that.
And they think that he's going to be with Elaine.
Well, so here's the thing though, right? If we're going to follow this train of thought. So there's currently kind of three main men who are unattached.
Left? Yeah.
It's Lucian, Tamlin and Asriel, right?
Yes.
And then we have now in the mix, we have Gwen, right? We have Emery. We have Elaine. And obviously if Emery and Moore are going to be a couple, Emery kind of gets taken out of that equation.
Right.
So then it's like, okay, what is the deal with Elaine and Gwen? I honestly, when I was reading the book, because there were multiple moments in the book. And again, Sarah J. Maas doesn't just throw things in willy-nilly. I think she's very intentional.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there are multiple moments where Asriel and Gwen are like having these moments, right? Whether it's like a glance or a look, or he's like going out of his way to make sure she's fine or whatever. And so I'm like, is she laying the groundwork for a relationship there? But at the same time, there were also an equal number of moments of him doing that with Elaine and them sharing glances at the table and like all of this stuff.
Yeah.
So I am really confused. And I wonder if she's doing that on purpose to create a lot of ambiguity around that. But I do think Asriel's going to end up with either Gwen or Elaine. That is my prediction. I don't know for sure which one.
Yeah.
I think it would be a much better twist if she did end up with Tamlin, because yeah, that's pretty wild.
It would be wild. But then, because if you think about it, like those drawers mean something. They're not just like willy-nilly. And it is confusing for Elaine because she loves to plant and garden.
Yeah.
Right. And so there's, I don't know.
But that could be like, that could be it. Like that could be all that it means.
No, I don't think so. Because what you're saying is like Sarah J. Maas is very intentional about what she puts in her books. I don't think it's so.
But here's the thing though, because like, so yes, Feyre's had a night sky, which meant that she ended up with the night court. Yeah. The flames. Rhysand, goodness. Yeah. But flames don't have anything to do with Cassie, and it had to do with Nesta being like.
Sure. Those were her powers.
Right. So I think it could just be like, because the other thing too, yes, Elaine's power from the cauldron is that she can kind of see the future, but I wonder if she might have another aspect to her abilities that does involve, I don't know, growing things or something, right? Life, like earth force, mother nature, whatever, that might come into play in the next. I'm assuming there will be an ensuing war battle of some kind in the next book because of the groundwork that was laid. So maybe that's what it connects to. Yeah, but so many theories.
There are so many theories.
It's fun. It is fun to like think about what it could be, especially like because we're in this waiting moment, you know, and it is weird for me to be in a place where I am like awaiting this next book. Like, do I need to pre-order it? Like, am I going to be that person? Like, oh my God.
Probably. But also like the idea of the whole thing, because Azriel, I want to go back to this idea of like, so Lucian, right?
Yeah.
Said that he is Elaine's mate.
Yeah.
And then I remember Elaine in one of the scenes, she was like, I can hear your heartbeat. Right. And I can't remember if that was just because of her powers or something.
Hear whose heartbeat?
Lucian's. Remember when Lucian met her? This was an Akawar, though, I think, not Silver Flames. And so was that just her new abilities as Fae, or was that because they were mated? I can't.
Oh, I remember I know what you're talking about. I think it could be attributed to either, and I think she left it vague on purpose. Like it could be like, oh, her hearing's increased because she's Fae now, right? Or it's like, oh, there's a connection.
Yeah, and then Lucian is actually of Autumn Court.
Yes.
Oh, no, sorry, Summer Court, right?
No, Lucian's Autumn Court.
No, his real father.
Oh, his real father, yes, is Helion, right?
Which is Summer Court, right?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
He has ties to Autumn Court, but his legacy, right, will end up being Summer Court. And then, of course, Tamlin is in Spring. And then you have Gwen and then Azriel. And so people are really wanting it to either be Lucian or Azriel. And is it going to be a triangle? What's going to happen?
For Gwen, you mean? Like Gwen, Lucian, and Azriel? Oh, Elaine, Lucian, and
Elaine. Yeah.
Elaine, Lucian,
but
Azriel.
I wonder if it's going to be more along the lines of what you're saying with Gwen and Azriel and Lucian and
I feel like there's gonna be another love triangle because fantasy writers freaking love
Where has there been a love triangle ACOTAR? I guess Tamlin and
Tamlin and Rhysand and Feyre. That's literally that was like the catalyst for so much of this. Are you kidding?
Fair.
And then we have another love triangle. Well, I mean, it's not super explicit, but I think there's a love triangle between Lucian, Azriel, and Elaine because there is that tension there that's kind of simmering. And so I think, romantasy authors really love their love triangles. I find them kind of annoying sometimes, honestly. But I do want to talk a little bit about the things that I didn't like.
Yep.
Because we did start off on the positives. And I think one of the things which I started to mention, I think a bit in the summary is that, and this is not necessarily a bad thing because I do like that this book was more of a deep dive into Nesta's character and wasn't necessarily a super, super plot driven book compared to some of the previous books, but it was slow. And I literally wrote in my notes, like, nothing much has happened so far in the first half. Lots of training and brooding and falling down the stairs. And it did feel very repetitive in the first half, right?
Okay.
Like, Nesta was kind of going through these same cycles and behaviors. And I was like, we could have maybe done this twice, not like 4 or 5 times. So that was a bit frustrating. And then I think the other thing about the structure of this book that I understand why Sarah J. Maas did it. I know that this book works as part of a series and is not a standalone.
Right.
But it was kind of annoying that she's giving us so much information and so much kind of exposition and laying the groundwork for what will be, I'm assuming, a future conflict with the queens and what is his name? Koskai? Koschi, whatever. Kosche. Like, who, for those of you who didn't read the book, he's basically like he's one of the death gods, right? Or
I can't remember.
Yeah, he's got a lot of powers. The point is, it's like she's giving us all of this information that actually doesn't really connect to how this book plays out. It's kind of background noise, honestly, because the actual arc of this story is Nesta, her redemption arc, her training, her and her friends getting stuck at the blood ritual, blood rite, and then that being resolved. Like all of that other stuff, which we learn about, isn't really going to come into fruition, right, until like the next book. And again, as someone who doesn't read series a lot, it's kind of a frustrating experience because I'm like, oh, you're giving me all of this information about like this impending war, impending conflict, and then you're not delivering on it yet.
Yeah.
So I'm sure for folks like you who read series a lot, it probably wasn't a big deal, but for me, it was really frustrating.
Something to know.
And then the other thing, of course, that I could not stand about this book, so much fucking smut, like so much.
Yes.
Like I don't like skimming in books in general because it feels like cheating to me, and I don't know, I'm just too type A. But I had to skim because I was like, I just cannot. I cannot.
But and Amanda, it was so important to the plot.
It was so not important to the plot. Like, that was it. Because like you could already get a sense of the tension between Cassie and Nesta and like where their struggles were and how they're both kind of these broken individuals that really need to heal and are doing some of their healing together and need to do some of their healing apart.
Yes.
But there was this one quote.
Yes, tell me.
that I had to include. And this is obviously Nesta, from Nesta's kind of perspective. And this is the quote, every time she met his stare or got within a few feet of him, it roared at her to strip off her clothes and offer herself to him, unquote. And I was like, OMG. You have got to be fucking kidding me. This is so stupid. I hate everything about this. Please stop writing smut. Like,
oh, that is hilarious.
It's so cringe, as the kids would say. It's so cringe. It's so cringe. And it does nothing for me personally. I know for a lot of folks it does. For me, it just gives me the ick.
But like 100%. You're very lucky because Sarah J. Maas, I have never seen that she uses the word folds.
She has not. And I appreciate that.
Thank you, Sarah.
So thank you, Sarah, for not using folds. But there's a lot of other terms that she uses. She also, which is common, again, I think in a lot of romantic sex scenes where it's like the roaring and the growling. And I'm like, what does that, I don't know if I saw this on Book Talk or like, I don't know. Yes, maybe it was you. And I was like, it was you in one of our previous episodes. We're like, what does that sound like when someone's making these noises? Like, what does that sound like? Because in my head, I'm like, that is not a sexy noise. Like, I'm not going to make that noise.
Yeah. These Fae characters just have like really intense sex.
I guess it's like they're super powered bodies and they just can't keep it under wraps. I don't know. But they're just making all these
can't keep it under wraps.
strange, like guttural animal noises. And I'm like, there is nothing sexy about this. Or that's the other thing they do. And I have seen somebody do this on Book Talk. So many times in this book, they were baring their teeth at each other. And I'm like, all I could think of was like creepy vampires. I don't know. In any sense, we're like baring your teeth at your partner looks sexy and appealing. Yeah. Like, so somebody was like making fun of that in one of their Book Talk videos and like making the faces of what that could look like. And I'm like, there's no world in which I'm like, yep, that'll do it for me.
That's it. That's the one.
That's the thing.
That's my man.
Get me going. Oh my God. But I did have a question for you. And I don't know if you remember this part of the book. So there's like this whole scene / conflict because again, Cassie and Nesta are just like on again, off again, back and forth this whole book. And near the end of the book, one of their final conflicts is that Nesta doesn't like want to be with Cassian because she doesn't want to be called Cassian's mate. Like she makes this huge deal about, yes, I love you. Yes, I want to be with you, but like, I can't because I don't want to be called your mate. And it felt really contrived and illogical. And I didn't know if you felt the same or if you even remembered that scene.
Yeah.
But I was like, this is a non-issue.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it just kind of goes back to her independence.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, that
She's
makes sense.
a very independent person.
Yeah.
But that's all I could connect it to.
Okay. I think she's afraid of like fully accepting her fairness. And I think that's maybe like the final holdout for her was like not giving into this whole like mate ritual that's part of being fae. But it just, especially with it coming at the end of the book, I'm like, this is not a conflict that really feels like it holds any weight or significance. And they have this whole falling out and he storms off and I'm like, this is stupid. Like, and also because there's so many other parts in the book that are really deep and meaningful and have that, depth to it. I was like, oh, this is dumb. It felt like Sarah was like, I have to put in one more moment of conflict before the end, before they really finally come together. And I thought that was really dumb.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's very possible that happened.
Yeah. But yeah.
I wanted to mention the 10,000 steps.
Okay. Yes.
Part of the book. And I don't know if you've ever seen this. It's like a connection to social media. Okay. But women going to the stair stepper at the gym and doing the 10,000, the Nesta challenge, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of this or seen this, but that tracks.
That must be intense.
I love using the Stairmaster in my gym and I'm going to make that a goal now. I should have kept whatever I did the last time because I usually just do 20 minutes. I'm like, I wonder how many steps.
I'm curious. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I do hiking a lot and I feel like the elevation gain that I do is probably similar to 10,000 steps, but I didn't know that was a thing. I like that. I like that a lot.
Put it on our social media page.
Yeah. If I do it, I for sure will.
Yeah.
I feel like there was like two more things that I'm looking at my little list of notes. One is that I talked about this with Anna, actually. I didn't like this about the book. And I'm curious what you thought if you remembered it.
Tell me.
So you know how authors will have like self-inserts, right? So they write a character in a novel that's kind of supposed to be them, essentially, like a fictional version of themselves so they can live in the world of the story they're creating. And in this book, there's a scene where Nesta, Gwen, and Emery have like a girls' night, right? And it was so obvious that Sarah J. Maas wrote this scene for the book girlies because even though they're in this fictional world, they're like doing all of the things that a group of 3 human girlfriends would do if they wanted to have a read-in, right? So they all bring their books, they get together, they literally make friendship bracelets, which I mean, do have a function later in the plot, but I was like, okay, they make friendship bracelets. They, eat lots of yummy snacks. They curl up by the fire. And it was clear the whole purpose of that scene was basically to write a reader insert to be like, hey, readers, I see you. Like, I know this is what you do with you and your girlfriends when you guys have these like read-ins. And I don't know. I'm sure some people found it really cute. I just found it really cheesy and out of place. I don't know. Because all 3 of them, Nesta, Emery, and Gwen, and the house itself are all obsessed with reading smutty romance novels. And I'm like, this is so stupid. This is so stupid. I don't like this at all.
Yes. It's okay though, Amanda. You don't.
No, this was too much for me.
So I can see where you're coming from with that point for sure.
It was just too on the nose. It was too on the nose and I didn't like it.
I hear you. But again, Sarah has an audience and it is a very particular audience. And you're probably right. She's like, hey, gotcha.
They're gonna love this. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And a lot of people probably did. But also I think it does show, and it is worthwhile to show the 3 women in a position or in a situation that is more carefree than what they're dealing with, right? Yeah. Because they're dealing with all of these hard things and then they get to be real. I was going to say humans, but you know what I mean. Yeah, they just get to be real with each other for one night and like let their hair down. Nice. Yeah.
I had no problems with them doing that. It just was so obvious that she was like taking a normal girls' night in our world and like transposing it into this world. And I was like, I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One other thing I wanted to mention was the ending, essentially, where Feyre was having the baby. And remind me, because I know that Nesta saves the baby, but it had to lead up to all of her training. I just can't remember what was the power that allowed her to save Feyre and the baby in those moments.
She, like, her power is connected with death, right? She's this kind of pseudo like death god. And so she's using her power, I think, over life and death to give Feyre life. And
I see.
She makes this deal with the cauldron, essentially this power, like, save them. You can take back your power that I took from you.
Oh,
and save them. And then we find out, of course, that the cauldron actually lets her retain a small portion of her power, even though she was willing to give it all up to save them. So that's kind of the gist of what happens. I hope I'm getting that entirely right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to be reminded of like how that all went down. And of course, like Rhys has like now a soft spot for Nesta.
Yes,
like, oh,
thank you. Exactly. Which honestly is good because them and their conflict was getting annoying. I'm like, just get over it already. Be friends. Like,
and there had to be a resolution there because they're going to be in each other's lives from now on. And so, there definitely had to be some sort of solution.
Yes. So so like overall, I enjoyed it. I also like, there was a scene in The Blood, right, where Nesta, Emery, and Gwen take on this group of male Illyrians at this bridge that's and that I wrote in my notes, I was like, that scene was really badass. It was well written. It showed them putting into action all of the training that we'd watched them go through over the course of this novel. And I was like, well done, Sarah. That was just a really very cool action scene. And I do enjoy those moments because I'm, huge fan of, as you know, war, conflict, action movies in general. So I really appreciated that final scene. Am I missing anything that you also wanted to talk about with this book that is like front of mind?
I don't think I have anything more, but like I just think in general, like people really relate well to Nesta because of the depths within her character, and she's just real. And because Feyre, right, like she was always overcoming her issues, and it was just a different, I don't know how you would explain that, but it was just different where it's like clearly she's the best, right? And she's going to be high and mighty for her cause and her people and her family and things. And Nesta wasn't like that. She wasn't just this black and white character, right? There were so many nuances to who she was and why she made certain choices. And so I love that. And then I'm curious how that's going to end up with Elaine, right? Like, so we had Feyre, Nesta, and then how is Elaine going to show up, And so I'm just curious.
Yeah, because I think I'm curious about that too, because out of the three of them, Elaine seems the most shallow. Like Nesta is a very layered, nuanced character, as you said. And even Feyre, even if she's clearly the good sister, she's out here like, risking her life, but she was a dynamic character and had skills. And Elaine is just kind of this delicate, sweet, she likes flowers. She doesn't make a fuss. Like everyone protects her. So I'm like, I'm curious what is there for Sarah J. Maas to dive into or like uncover for us. I'm like, she doesn't seem like she has a whole lot going on.
And then what if we get another Nesta book instead of like an Elaine book? Do you think that's possible?
I could, only because if the Valkyries are a huge part of this next upcoming conflict or war, it would be cool to experience that through Nesta, since she's the one who is so key to that. And you wouldn't really get as in-depth information about that if Elaine is the one now telling the story and maybe in passing mentioning what the Valkyries are up to. So I think that would actually be cool in some ways if the second book was still Nesta. But Elaine's been like overshadowed and overlooked for so long.
She has.
I think she does need her moment.
I actually am curious to get into Elaine's brain and mind.
I am too.
Because I'm like, we have no idea, like nothing.
No, like literally nothing. And I'm like, is there anything? I mean, there's gotta be something there, but
well, obviously.
Yeah.
So we don't know.
We don't know. So I would say, overall for this book, I think I would recommend it. I think if you've already committed to the series and made it this far and finished like ACOWAR, and even if you've read A Court of Frost and Starlight, then yes, like don't stop. That's kind of silly. It's a very different book from ACOWAR. So, you know, I think expect a very different vibe. It is very much a character study and not this plot driven, you know, riveting, fast-paced book. It's not. Things do pick up in the second half, and you have them kind of going on, like I said, on these quests to get these items, and things are brewing, but it is a lot of just Nesta sitting around processing, meditating, like making friends. So I would keep that in mind depending on what kind of reader you are. And it is a long book, so also keep that in mind, but I would recommend it still.
Great. Of course I would recommend it as well, especially for those smut lovers.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There. If you love smut, you're gonna eat this book up. There's so much. So gentle readers. Kelsey and we're filming this in August.
Yes.
This will drop at the end of September, but it is a sweltering hot day.
Oh my God.
Here in Seattle.
Like
I think it's 90 in my apartment right now. And I can't turn on my AC because we're recording this podcast. Yes. So we are actually not going to be doing our literally the best or literally the worst for this episode.
Yes.
We're just going to keep it short. And this is also a bonus episode as well. So we don't always do the full thing.
Yeah.
However, with that said, because we're not doing a literally the best or literally the worst, we for sure want to hear from you. Like we for sure want to add some more voices to this conversation. So whether you comment on this episode on Spotify or whether you hop on our socials on TikTok or Instagram and let us know, we will be posting our Thursday video where we ask folks to vote and chime in whether this book was a lit it or quit it. So definitely be sure to do that because there's a lot to chat about this book, and especially I want to know theories. I want to know your theories, everyone.
Oh, yes. That is fun.
Yes. So quick recap of socials, Kelsey, so folks can.
Yes. So you can find us on Instagram at litvibesonly_podcast and TikTok and YouTube at litvibesonly_podcast. We are super active over there. Come hang out with us. We'd love to see you. Yeah. Just keep it going. Let us know how we're doing.
Absolutely. The all the feedback is so helpful, and we do listen to it and try to incorporate it as best we can.
We do.
Yeah. So thanks for hanging out with us for our bonus episode. We will of course be doing whenever the next book comes out. We'll do the next book. So stay tuned for that. But thanks for hanging out with us, guys, and we'll see you next Monday.
Bye.
Bye.